the Mike Files, streaming to you live, 52 miles east of Yellowstone Park. As you can see, I'm getting ready to go out on my dirt bike. Just something that's been on my mind all night. Found out about this yesterday, that Taylor Hawkins passed away in South America. They found him deceased in his hotel. And, you know, the guy was one of my favorite musicians and probably one of the better drummers out there. I mean, talk about a band with the Foo Fighters that you can say what you want about the Foo Fighters. You know, some of their stuff has been kind of poppy, but those guys jam. And, you know, I've been to, I hesitate to even guess how many concerts I've been to. It's around 1,500 live shows that I've been to in my life. So I've seen, you know, I've seen a lot of bands. And my friend Tom and I went to see them when they played up in Billings, and it was just an amazing show. I mean, they really did it was just, we were looking forward to going to see them on August 10th. They were going to be playing up in Big Sky. And I don't know, I would doubt that's going to happen. You just can't replace a guy like Taylor Hawkins. You just, I mean, you know, I was talking to my cousin Cameron about it. He said those are some big shoes to fill, and it's like that's one of those places where you don't ever fill those shoes. You know, and he was one of my favorites. I mean, you know, he had you know, started up a band with Dave Navarro, and it was, I mean, it was one of my favorite videos. I'm not going to play it because I'll get an infringement for it. I don't think I can get an infringement for playing one of my own videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play what I remember of Taylor Hawkins. And I mean, when he would do this song, okay, so he would come off the drum kit and Dave Grohl would jump up and take over. And this is Under Pressure. And this is Taylor Hawkins. And this is my own film. So I don't know if I'll get copyright infringement on it or not. It doesn't really matter. I don't give a shit because, you know, rest in peace, Taylor. I mean, 50 years old, gone, you know, love to his wife and 3 children, and all the guys in the band, especially, I mean, him and Dave were like best fucking friends, you know. And now Dave's gone through, you know, I mean, you know, he went through the loss of, you know, Kurt Cobain. And then he started the Foo Fighters just to get over the pain of that, and he recorded all the tracks himself. And he got signed on a record label, and they thought that it was a band. They didn't realize that it was just him. And he got signed. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, and they jam. I mean, they get out there. I mean, like I said, I've only seen them one time. They played like over 3 hours straight, no set break. Right? They quit, they go backstage, and I mean, this is just at the Billings Metro, you know, but everybody's just going nuts, wanting more. And they've got that diamond, they've got a diamond screen that's really cool in the backdrop, and it shows them like back in the green room, like slamming a Coors Light or whatever, you know, and everybody's getting louder and louder, and Dave Grohl's like, 1, 2, you want 3? How about, you know, and so they came out and did like a four song encore. But this is just my recording of Taylor Hawkins doing the vocals for Under Pressure. And that's, you know, he was a dynamic artist for sure. And he'd been through struggles, you know, on their acoustic album, there was a song written on there for him when Dave was sitting there and he was basically in a coma, you know, from an overdose. And he'd come out the other side. And they've not labeled the cause of death yet. And they're saying it's going to be some time. Whatever it was, whatever it may be, it's just unfortunate because, you know, the world of music lost a pretty much a legendary drummer. And the guy could sing. I mean, he was singing with his, you know, his new band. I always say it wrong. I think it's NCH or HNC. It's Hawkins, Navarro, and Chandler. Anyway, but they've got a video out there called "The Devil I Know," and it's an awesome video. I mean, I've been watching that video for the last couple of months. I think it came out, I don't know, 4 months ago. And it's one of my favorite, it's probably my favorite video out there right now. Absolutely incredible. I mean, it's not like over the top with the graphics and everything, but the graphics are cool and it's meaningful. And I think it tells a story about Taylor Hawkins. And if that's the case, then wow, you know, it's just sad, you know, you hate to see that. You know, and I mean, I don't know. I just chose to focus on something, I guess, a little bit different than all the bullshit that I'm typically looking at. Because this one, you know, this is up there with when, like, you know, Lane Staley passed or Chris Cornell. You know, this is one that stings. It's just like, man, you know, it's like, fuck. And then you think about, you know, his family, you know, and just everybody that cared about him. The guy was just he was really a unique individual, hell of a drummer, had a hell of a voice too. I mean, you know, he could front any band. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to play this. This is filmed live by me from Billings, Montana, a few years back. Me and old Boother the Truth were hanging out at this one. And let me see if I can get it going here. It's Taylor Hawkins, Foo Fighters, Under Pressure.
Dave Grohl on the drums.
Damn. This one sucks. So anyway, there's my one moment, I guess, with Taylor Hawkins. Board shorts. I mean, he was just an animal. And like I said, I don't know what transpired. It doesn't really matter, one way or another. They just played at Lollapalooza just a couple nights ago, and they were slated to play in I believe Bogota, Colombia, and they had to come out and say sorry. I think that's where Lollapalooza was going next. I haven't looked it up. But they had to come out and basically tell all the fans that, sorry, Foo Fighters isn't coming on. And that was it's pretty heavy, you know? I mean, I'm sitting here and also thank you all for the birthday wishes the other day, you know? I hit the old 4-6, so I'm looking at him. He's at 50. I got 4 years till I hit that big old, the half century mark, and it's just like, whoa, that's surreal. The idea of being 50 years old is like, it's like, how in the world did that happen, and how am I still alive? I don't even know. I mean, I'm fortunate, I guess. I mean, I'm most certainly. I mean, I honestly, I mean, I was surprised when 30 hit. Here we are. Pushing to 5-0, but you never know. You never know. That's the thing, people. Is you got to live your life. You got to live every second, I guess, like it's your last, because you never know. It could be. The sad truth of it is, that's the fact, is nobody knows. Your time's up. Your time's up. Look at Bob Saget passed away recently. I mean, I haven't looked in. I haven't had the will to look into some of the information that's come out about that. From what I understand or what I initially understood, was that he fell, hit his head, perhaps suffered a concussion, and went to sleep and never woke up. There was another comedian, I want to say it's Heather McDonald. Now, that was a crazy one, because she got up and basically tempted the fates. I mean, she got up there and said, to the effect of, I've been triple vaccinated, had my flu shot, also got a shingles shot, traveled to Mexico, traveled everywhere, done shows, still have my period, and I guess Jesus loves me more than anybody else. And at that point in time, she just fell over. She fell out on stage. I mean, it looked like it was, it looked like it was a part of the sketch, But no, she fell out, landed on the back of her head, and the thud was just like, oh my God. And she fractured her skull. I mean, it was bad. She said she was feeling, but I mean, people are, I don't know, relate it to what you may, but that one was kind of weird, because it was like she was just calling it out and just asking. I mean, George Carlin did that back in the day, talking about God and everything, and said, well, if God's for real, then may he strike you all dead. And he's like, and see, but years, I think it was 2017, I believe, 2016, 2017, I think it was 2017 that, I think it was somebody on a lawnmower or something. Anyway, I think it was 2017 that Colonel Bruce went out on stage at the Encore with like 17 other artists. I had tickets for that show in Atlanta at the Fox Theater, and I couldn't go. But he always said he was going to go out on stage. He called it, He said, that's the way I want to go out. And he used to do that shtick where he would like fall down, song would get hot, get going, he'd fall down and act like he'd fallen out. It was just all kind of a joke. But that night it wasn't. And they kept playing for like 2 minutes before, I think, if I remember right, like Taz Niederhauer was standing like right over him. And then I think Dave Schools was the one that realized it. It was like, holy shit, he's out. He's down. The Colonel's down. Obviously, that didn't happen here, but yeah, they found Taylor in his hotel room before they went on. So I don't know, travel light, brother. You know, big thanks for everything that you brought. I mean, and if you guys get a chance, check out that video. It's called "The Devil I Know," and it's oh, I'd have to get on here and look it up, which I can do. I've got the technology, folks. I do. I really do. But anyway, that was pretty cool seeing him that night. I'd never seen the Foo Fighters before. I'd always been a fan of their music. They're kind of one of those bands that, you know, even though they had that, sometimes that poppy side to them, they still jammed. They're still heavy. Dave Grohl, I mean, he doesn't even know how to read music. He plays by ear. I mean, check him out on, he's got a video out there called Play. And he plays every single instrument on that thing, just like he did when, with the inception of the Foo Fighters. And he didn't want to come out with his name on that album that he had basically, he went and tracked over and over again. You know, what we would call now would be like looping. You know, he was probably one of the first ones to do that. And then had to put a band together around it, which was kind of cool. Keller Williams was another guy that did that. And if you ever seen him live, I know I saw him for my birthday at the Crocodile Cafe in 2000, maybe 2002, 2003 in Seattle. And I'd never seen anybody do that before. He comes out and he's got all his instruments and they're all on a stand, like right where they would be, like if he's playing a guitar or whatever. But he's got horns, he's got keys, he's got a bass, he's got an acoustic, an electric, the drum kit. And I didn't know what to expect. I had, at the time, I had one of his albums. I listened to him. I'd seen him with the String Cheese Incident, and he comes out and he just lays down the bass line. Then he hops over the guitar and he puts down a rhythm. And he goes over and grabs a horn and puts that down, and the keys and the drums. And so he was laying down the track and he's just looping it all together, you know. And then he gets up there on his acoustic and starts playing his music. And I was just like, holy shit, this sounds just like, so that's how he recorded everything, I guess. And it was pretty cool. But that's how Foo Fighters started, for those of you that didn't know. It was after the death of Kurt Cobain. And Dave Grohl was just trying to do something. Basically what he said, trying to do something to ease the pain of all that. And that was the inception of that band. And yeah, now he lost his best friend. So, I mean, I really feel for Dave. Even though Dave is, he's worth an ungodly amount of money, but that doesn't matter to him at all. I mean, he lives a pretty low-key life. The dude likes cheese. And he's been known as like the nicest guy in rock and roll. He's got a venue in DC called the Anthem. Dude's he's originally from that area, from the Virginia side of the river out there. But anyway, I don't know. Much love going out to all you guys out there in the Foo Fighters and family and, everybody basically. It just sucks when you lose somebody like that. So without further ado, I was going to see if I could find that video, because you guys should watch it if you're into what was it called? I can't remember if I know who it is. It's just I can't ever get the acronym right. It's not NCH. I thought it was HNC. And I just watched the stupid thing a little while ago. Just because I watch it all the time. See if I can find it here. I don't know. I might just play it. Just because. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll just play the video. Maybe we'll just make this the Taylor Hawkins tribute. I got all sorts of videos. Here we go. Oh, that's alternate version. Okay, here it is. Let's pull this guy out. And we're going to pause him. Put him on a big screen. I'm just going to play it. I don't care. This is for Taylor Hawkins. And he's singing in this song as well. And, they brought Dave Navarro back. Amazing guitarist. I mean, I was stoked to see Dave come back. But I'm just going to play this. We're just going to be like the music video hour. So if you want to copyright me. I don't really care. I've been through enough already. So here we go. It's a badass video. Classic Dave Newell.
Time for your honesty. Tell me lies about our destiny. Fill my head with words I can't believe. 'Cause I don't need to hear. The truth is a word we can never use. If it makes too much sense, then there's something to lose. Got who I was so I can find myself. Looking for heaven as a living hell. After all, you're the devil that I know. Let it go. Getting really good at letting go. All these things we have are just for show. Lives that leave no space to grow. Time to clean your room. Take out the trash just to clear my head. Feels like a dream, so I'm going to bed. I wake up early, but it feels too late. Never stood in line, but I am willing to wait. And after all, you're the devil that I know.
Wow. You know, that whole thing just takes on such a new meaning. Watching that. I mean, you know, that's him. He's a skeleton. Every piece of glass, every mirror that he steps in front of, it breaks. Drowning in the sea, and then he's riding off on an upside down anchor. I mean, that's heavy. You know, I don't know. Might not mean much to most people. I don't know, but goddamn, that just sucks. Because I mean, he was a guy. I'd go and watch. You know, he has a bunch of videos out there, stuff like that, stuff where he'd like go into Guitar Center and jam, and you know, him and Dave Grohl. They told a story. They were going from L.A. Back out to Virginia. And they had ended up playing Ozfest for a band that wasn't able to play, so they got the call or whatever, and so they sat in at Ozfest. Well, Ozfest is really not, they don't fall within that genre. Well, guess who was following them was Pantera, right? So they got to go up there, and basically they're like, they're opening for Pantera, right? One of the heaviest fucking bands ever. I mean, another band I was fortunate enough to see with Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul. And unfortunately, both of those guys, rest in peace, have passed away, and that was just a really unfortunate thing. I was getting ready to see Vinny's band right before he passed away, and of course that was that for that. And I only saw Pantera the one time, but the energy they brought that night was just insane. So anyway, they're telling the story, right? They open for Pantera, and Dave Grohl says he looks off the side of the stage, and you've got Phil Anselmo, and you got Rex, and you got Dimebag, and you got Vinny, and he said they're all sitting there watching him, and he said he can tell they're singing along. They know the lyrics to the songs, right? So they get done playing, and, they end up hanging out with all of them, and Pantera they owned a strip club down in Texas, and so they had told these guys from the Foo Fighters, if they ever came through, come on by. And so Taylor and Dave, they fuel up the vehicle that they're riding in, and they leave, and they're like, fuck it. So they go through Texas, and they go to the strip club, right? And so, like, they won't let Dave Grohl in because he left his wallet sitting on the gas pump, right? He left it sitting on the gas pump in California. They're in Texas. He's got no wallet. And that's when he finally, he realizes that that's what had happened. And so they weren't going to let him in. And then apparently, they were like, look, tell Phil or whatever. And according to the story, they got in. They went about their way. Dave never thought he would ever see that wallet again. And when they ended up getting back to LA, he gets a phone call from somebody that had found it. And they brought it to him. Not a dime had been touched in it. And he got his wallet back. And that was a pretty cool story. But him and Taylor told that story on TV. That's a good interview to watch. It's I mean, those two had a dynamic, And so, anyways, won't dwell on that anymore. It's just one of those things. So, I guess the other thing that's going on is we've got a president out there, and now he's out there in the the great unknown. I don't know who's wrangling him. Who's lassoing him. Jesus Christ, what a mess. He's over there saying some really bizarre shit. He went and talked to the 82nd Airborne, telling them about what they were going to see when they went to Ukraine. Well, we are not supposed to be having boots on the ground in Ukraine. I think it's bad enough that we're talking about these MiGs. Okay, Poland's a neighbor, right? If Poland wants to give them these MiGs, why are we replacing them with F-16s? If we're going to do that, why don't we just give Ukraine the F-16s? It's a more effective jet. Maybe they don't have, I don't know. I guess I've heard that their pilots can fly the MiGs. I don't know about the F-16s. Maybe they need to go through training on those. But Lockheed Martin, they made a deal to build, what was it? It was either 90 for 60 billion, or it was 60 of them. I think it was 60 for 90 billion or something like that. A ridiculous price tag. And so Poland's going to basically donate a bunch of these old-ass planes, and then you and I, the U.S. taxpayers, we're going to be stuck holding the dime to replace Poland's old-ass planes with new F-16s that we paid for, and they're just going to go over there to Poland. And us, the taxpayer, we're just supposed to go, $90 billion. Whatever. As I've said, it would take 20 billion would eradicate homelessness in the United States. Now, I don't understand why in the fuck people aren't, up in arms about this. I don't understand why you all aren't out there just furious about this like I am. This shit pisses me off. They cut out 15 point some odd billion dollars out of one of the spending packages for COVID, which the people never got. I mean, do the math. Do the math on that. Do the math on who was eligible for a fucking payment, what you got out of it, and where did the rest of the fucking money go? It went to gender studies in fucking Pakistan. It went to ICBM programs in fucking Israel. It went to the military in Greece. It went to all these special interest groups. It went to fucking Wall Street. I mean, they took your jobs. They took your businesses. They shut you down. They made you wear a mask. They masked your kids. They muzzled your kids. And where'd that money go? It just put us further in debt. We're at like 30 trillion now. $30 trillion in debt. It's never going to be repaid. You kidding me? And you got Joe Biden out there just babbling. You got Kamala Harris telling everybody where Ukraine is a country in Europe. It borders a bigger country called Russia. And that larger country, Russia, decided to invade Ukraine, and we all agree that that's basically wrong. Really? Thank you, Kamala. Thank you for clearing that up. I bet she didn't even know where the fuck Ukraine was. And then she's up there talking about the significance of the passage of time. You see, there's a thing about the significance of the passage of time. With the significance of passage of time, there's a significant passage of time. And when we look at the significant passage of, she says it like 8 times in a row. It's like, what in the fuck are you talking about? The significant passage of time. It's like, we need fucking action like right now. Like, do something now. Like, even if it's fucking wrong, because what you're doing is nothing. None of them are doing shit, and nobody's doing shit. We're all sitting here on our fucking thumb, acting like, well, maybe this will go away. Meanwhile, we've got inflation. He came out yesterday, Joe Biden, he came out and said that, you know, with the sanctions that I've put on Russia, it's not only going to be, you know, something, the Ruskies are going to have to eat, but, you know, Americans and Europe too, we will possibly face food shortages. You're talking food shortages over this fucking war. So basically, this is America last. This means that you, me, all of us in this fucking country are getting put on the fucking back burner for this horse shit that's going on over there that would have never fucking happened if we didn't have this dipshit in office. So I hope all you that voted for this fucking puke are fucking happy. I hope all you out there that bought into the Russia collusion bullshit and fucking took all this shit hook, line, and sinker about Trump, I hope you're happy, because look what you've done. If you're out there in a state where you're paying $7 or $8 a gallon for fuel and you voted for this clown, good. Good. Good for you. Way to go. And good for the rest of us. You really helped it out. You know, really did. I mean, it did a great job with the economy. I mean, look at the inflation. Awesome. Jobs. Sitting out there talking about jobs. Okay, well, the unemployment rate is where it's at because people are fucking having to take on 2 jobs now. And you're talking about jobs that people just went back to. You're not talking about him creating jobs. Okay, there were no jobs created. This guy, he shut down our energy industry. He hasn't created any green jobs, has he? We had all that lithium in Afghanistan, which is a necessary component to make the batteries. Now guess who has all of the natural resources to produce electric vehicles? China does. He sat there on a 2-hour conversation with Xi Jinping the other day, like last week, and none of it was disclosed. There was none of that conversation that was disclosed to anybody. And Psaki came out, and they're basically, he didn't put his foot down and say, you're not going to be helping Russia out. I mean, he just threatens with these fucking sanctions. Well, nobody gives a shit. Putin's already changed it to where, if you want to buy Russian petroleum now, you're paying for it with a ruble because of the sanctions that have kind of crushed it a little bit. But the Russians, they don't care. Those people, everybody in Russia has been living under sanctions forever. It doesn't matter. These are resilient people that don't give two shits. And he doesn't give a shit. Putin doesn't care. I'm not standing behind Putin whatsoever. Don't think that I'm doing that at all. I mean, he's out there. His young people are being killed. He doesn't care. He sent them in there unprepared. The Ukrainians are standing tall and fighting their asses off. I mean, you know, there's just so many things at play here that none of us know anything about. And I have tried to do my homework on it, and it just gets murkier and murkier the further I get into it. The further I get into it, the crazier it looks. And I'm not going to get into it because who knows, whatever I might say, I mean, ends up getting me, eternally banished, which I take as a compliment, because I figure if you're getting banned, then at least you're on the right track. I mean, if you get banned for presenting information like I just did for the last 2 weeks, I mean, I'm not taking it back. I feel like I'm owed a fucking apology, and I feel like my content should be put back out there. And I feel like that YouTube caused me to miss 2 weeks worth of podcasts being put on that platform, and I did nothing wrong. I mean, I appealed their decision immediately, and almost instantly I sent my appeal off, cited the study that I'd cited, and I mean, they immediately said nope. And then there was no repercussion from it. There was no way that I could do anything about it. Because you can't talk to somebody from YouTube. There's no way. You can't speak with them. It's just, they just decide that, misinformation. I've seen an awful lot of misinformation out there. And it certainly hasn't come from the likes of me. Anything that I've relayed or said has been a direct experience that I've had. And if I can't relay my experiences to you while telling you not to do, I've straight out said, don't do what I did. I'm not encouraging anybody to do what I did. In no way did I ever say that. All I did was explain what I'd been through and what my experience was. And this is happening all across the block. People are getting censored, shut down. And, y'all should be outraged over this like I am. It pisses me off to no extent. I mean, I can't even tell you how fucking upset this shit makes me. And it makes me upset when they do this to the likes of Joe Rogan. They're trying to come after Russell Brand. They've been on Jimmy Dore. And Jimmy, I wish you'd just come out and just say it, brother. I mean, I know you got a lot on the line, and I really hate it when somebody says, I can't say this, and I know I just did it too. But you already heard what I had to say anyhow. And I'm just, I'm not gonna ask Jen Psaki. I'm not going to reiterate it. Just let a sleeping dog lie. I don't care what you do. I'm not telling you to do one thing or another. What I am saying is that I just think that everybody should have the freedom to do what they feel is best for them. Consult your physician. Follow your medical advice that you get from them. Figure out what's right for you and go forth. If there's something wrong with saying that, then I don't even want to be on this platform anymore. Quite honestly. And I don't know why anybody would want to watch me on there anyways, all 3.2 of you. I mean, it's just, it's sick. It's sickening. And then the mushhead in chief comes out and says that we got another $1 billion plus that he's allocated for aid for Ukrainians. And we're going to let 100,000 Ukrainians into this country. And we haven't even done anything to take care of the border. I mean, with all this shit going on, what's going on at the border? Anybody hear anything about that? And then Fauci resurfaces the other day and starts talking about, well, I know the American people are fed up with the mask, but we got to be flexible. And, we might, if this thing takes off again, you might got to be ready. Good luck, dude. Good luck. That dude's been wrong about you want to talk about misinformation? The dude straight up lied to everybody. He straight up lied, and he admitted it. And I can prove that. And you all can too. It takes 2 seconds to get on the fucking internet and look him up and see when he talks about the masks and why he said that initially that you shouldn't wear a mask. When he knew that you should. He didn't want you to wear a mask because he didn't want the hospital workers to run out of them. Now, if more of the public were wearing masks, and he knew that that was supposedly if that was a legitimate, way to stop the transmission of the virus, wouldn't it be better if the public had masks and it would curtail the amount of the public going into the hospitals? I'm just saying, what about Cuomo? I mean, they had a Navy boat out there that was equipped with beds, doctors, staff, ventilators. What'd they do in New York City? They put people that were positive, they put them in old folks' homes. So not only did that Cuomo, not only was he groping females for years and years and years, ruining women's lives, but he's also right behind the death of how many seniors, how many elderly people, your grandma, your grandpa, if you live in New York City, or if you're anywhere from, that have relatives there. I mean, you got people that are in there dying and they can't even see their loved ones to say goodbye. And this dude's out there acting like he didn't do anything wrong, like he didn't do shit. And he wins awards on fucking TV, gets celebrated, and then his brother fakes whatever, his brother says he's got it. He gets caught out there wandering around while he's not at work at CNN. He's doing videos from his basement, doing fucking cardio and lifting weights, and some guy pulls him up on the street when he's walking around without a mask and says, "Hey, aren't you Chris Cuomo? Aren't you the guy on CNN that's talking about the mask and all this shit? And you where's your mask?" And Cuomo goes off on this fucking guy. And he's treated like some kind of a fucking hero. These guys are spuds. And anybody that listens to this stuff, you're a spud too. A bunch of idiots. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how stupid we've become and how much shit that we're willing to fucking take just so we can keep paying what we're paying. Anybody been in a grocery store recently? It's ridiculous. My bank account is just going, what are we gonna do? I mean, I had to move out of my shop. I have a ton of tools and stuff. I don't really want to sell stuff. I mean, I will, but I look at the money that I get out of it, and it's just really, money is not even it doesn't mean too much right now, because quite frankly, I think I'd rather have the tools, because I think we're going to need them. I mean, the way I'm looking at things, I'm not going to be selling generators or anything like that. Now, can I afford the fuel to put in them? Who knows? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But you got to look at what we're coming up on too. We're in the springtime now, right? What do we need to have crops grow? We got to have fertilizer. Where's fertilizer come from? A big chunk of it comes out of Russia. So with the increasing costs on everything, and then these shortages that we're going to have, not to mention the supply chain problems that we've had and are still going through, we are in trouble. We are not the world leader in anything right now. And our leadership is not leadership. And somebody out there voted this shit in. I'm not naming names or pointing fingers at anybody, but if you did, you might need to check your head, because you did something really, really stupid, and you're still sitting there being stupid. And watching that fucking Skeletor woman sit there and rub her knuckles together and talk about how Joe Biden is perfect. He's perfect for right now. He's perfect. I've never seen anybody fall up the stairs before. So if you fall up the stairs and that makes perfect, then I guess call me a very flawed individual. I've fallen down some stairs. I ain't never fallen up any stairs. I mean, they gave Trump a hell of a hard time when he was coming off that fucking helicopter, and the guy's wearing leather shoes, you know, leather loafers with leather soles, and it's slick. And he has to grab the handrail to keep from falling. And he catches a rash in his shit. All these Democrats and lefty, oh, you better check his cognitive ability. Look at him. He can't even walk. The guy's walking down a slick ramp with leather shoes on. It's like Brett Weinstein said. Might as well just wear, you know, he basically said, I always just wear tennis shoes, Adidas. Make sure you got good footwear on because you never know when you're going to need it. And ain't that the truth? You never know. I mean, get your bug out bag. Get ready to fucking hit the hills. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. But, you know, we've allowed this to happen. It's all of our faults. We've been complacent. We've been comfortable. We've sat back. We've become so disengaged with what these people are doing, and we think that they've got our best interest in mind. They have no interest in mind except for theirs. Okay? Everybody working in that fucking city that is not a state, they don't have your interest in mind. They don't care. Maybe Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, Tulsi Gabbard did. She's out of it. She left. She was the one that, I mean, to me, that was the one that got away, really. Tulsi should have, I mean, if she'd have been elected, I mean, we'd be much better off. And you sit here and you watch this fucking Hannity, you know, he's just as bad. He's a warmonger too. He's sitting there talking about how we need to go over there and just annihilate these, you know, let's give them this and that. Let's just take them out. And like I said, he's like that fucking baseball coach that everybody just wishes would like not show up for the game, you know? The guy like screaming at the kids and getting thrown out of games and shit like that, arguing balls and strikes in Little League. That's him. You know, looks like he got slammed into too many fucking, you know, whatever they call it, shit on the side of a hockey arena. Got body checked too many times. And he's sitting there trying to call Tulsi out. And here's Tulsi. She's been, you know, she's still, you know, in the National Guard. She's done 2 tours in Iraq as a medic. And this Hannity, who's spent his time in a fucking studio running his neck, wants to come at her about her stance regarding peace and the outcome of this thing and how do we go about negotiating a truce and everybody, you know, people stop dying. I mean, to me, that's a better approach. To me, looking at this is like, okay, what can we do to stop the unnecessary deaths on not only the Ukrainian people's side of things, but on the Russian side of things? Because those youngsters in the Russian military, they don't know what they're doing. They don't, I mean, it's been obvious they don't know what they've been sent in to do. And the Ukrainian people, I mean, it's just like you and me. What have we done? What have we done to deserve what we've got going on right now? What have you and I done to deserve this? To deserve these escalated prices, to deserve the dollar basically dropping out into nothing, to deserve paying $7 a gallon for fuel, going broke. Your utilities have to make a decision between putting food on the table or keeping your home heated. At least we're coming up on the springtime. It's going to get warmer. I mean, I don't know. And then you still got to pay your insurance on your vehicle. And you still got to pay all the, and if you can't pay your power bill or whatever, those assholes come right after you and they run a goddamn, you know, they run a monopoly on everything, especially in a little town like this. City of Cody, run by Rocky Mountain Power, run by Pacific Corp. Guess where that all goes back to? Berkshire fucking Hathaway. Black Hills Energy. Only place you can get natural gas is through them in this town. You don't have an option. So whatever they're charging, you have to pay because if you have a gas heated home, what are your options? If you want electricity, you either got to come up with, you know, the money to put solar panels on, which, okay, where do they come from? Fucking China, right? Trump put a tariff on all that. Who eats the tariff? You put the tariff on China, guess what? They just pump it up on us. So who ends up eating the tariff? We do. Everybody, think that tariffs are such a genius move. It's not a genius move. I've talked to business owners, people I know that have factories that are in different countries. And I mean, when he started doing this, I'm talking very intelligent business people that have, are worth millions of dollars that I've spoken with about this. And they're like, this is idiotic. They're like, we're not going to be eating the cost on this. We're going to get hit with it. And then we're just going to up the ante. And the American people are going to eat it, just like we will with these stupid planes that everybody wants to stand behind. Everybody, let's give them MiGs. We wouldn't be in this position if y'all didn't vote for this mushhead. And now his son, finally, okay, now it would have been nice, like pre-election, when they found the laptop and the New York Post put out the story. It would have been nice had they not been shut down on Twitter. That fucking Jack Dorsey shuts them down and he tells them, well, what we need you to do is just remove the post and then you can retweet it. And the New York Post said, fuck you, and rightly so. I mean, I'm wholeheartedly behind that. That shows that somebody out there's got some balls to stand up to these ass wipes. That son of a bitch gets up there in front of God. He's wearing his whatever he's supposed to be, some kind of yogi or I don't even know what. He's got the brain of a gnat. I mean, he got basically kicked off the board. I mean, how smart are you when you start something like Twitter or say a Twitter or a Facebook and you get like, nope. The board throws you off as the CEO. You're done. We're putting somebody else in here because you can't handle this. And then, but they still put him up there and interview him like he's got something to say about it. And he doesn't. I mean, that's why I got shut down twice now. Looking at number 3, probably right around the corner, I'm sure. And I watch some of these guys that come out there, and I don't know. I sent a message to a dude that has a show that, he speaks much like I do. I was like, how do you get away with this? I mean, I've got everything marked as not for children on my, on all my stuff, I know, trust me, I don't want your kids watching this. Because I don't know how you speak to your children. I mean, if you speak to them truthfully, sure, whatever. That's your choice as a parent, and I speak to my son like he's a man, like he's I speak to him like he's a grown up. I don't see the problem in that. I've never pulled punches with him because I never wanted him to grow up and get older and then realize, holy shit, my dad lied to me. You can call it what you want. You can say I'm wrong. I've had people say that to me. I don't care. I do what I know is what I do what I feel is right. You know what I mean? I mean, I want my kid to go out into the world having a little bit of knowledge of what he's walking into. I don't want him going out there being some naive soccer kid that got to eat ice cream for running around like a mushhead out on the field and in a tie, and everybody goes to Dairy Queen and they all get a participation ribbon or whatever. That's not life. Sorry. You can talk about equality of opportunity. I'm all for it if you can figure out a way to make that work, but you're not going to ever have equality of outcome with any kind of a good result from it. It's just the bottom line. There ain't no way. You can't say that people's outcome are going to be equal. It's just not going to happen. And if anybody's got something on the table to ensure some kind of equality of opportunity, hey, figure it out and let's go for it. But the way I see it is, that's only going to last for so long. Say you wipe the slate clean. Say you say you redistribute all the wealth between everybody. And you say, here we go. You go in, you gentrify, the bad neighborhoods. You rebuild schools. You get qualified teachers. You just go and redo you revamp law enforcement. I mean, how do you do that? Because it's only a matter of a generation, and you're going to have to just keep doing it over and over again. every year. I mean, that's, and who's in charge of doing that? I mean, these are questions that are fairly difficult to answer. And you see that goofy AOC. Did anybody see that goofy whispering shit she did the other day? That was, I mean, she's taking a play right out of the Joe Biden handbook. I mean, that was creepy what she did the other day. Let's see if we can find this. I mean, it was weird. She did like that whisper shit that Biden does. Guess what? It won't cost a thing. It's paid for. Who's paying for it? Joe? Hunty? Is Hunty paying for it? He looks like he's going to get indicted. Now, here's what's going to happen is Joe's going to go ahead. All right. Here we go. Watch this one. This is going to be great. Tell me this isn't just creepy as hell. This is from a 30-year-old bartender now, I guess. Let's see.
Tell you a secret. Most people don't really know what capitalism is. Most people don't even know what socialism is. But most people are not capitalists because they don't have capitalist money. They're not billionaires.
Look how creepy this is.
The label doesn't matter as much as just talking about policies. That's easier to understand. Do you think people should die because they can't afford insulin? Do you think that fossil fuel CEO should decide whether the planet gets set on fire? Me neither. Unionize your workplace. Start a worker cooperative.
What is she doing?
If it's too extreme for working people to own the means of production, why is it okay for private billionaires to own the means of production? I'll tell you a secret. Most people don't really know what capitalism is.
Wow. That was weird, wasn't it? It was really weird. I mean, she's a goony bird. And I've heard people talking about her as a possible presidential candidate for, number one, she's going to have to wait another election because she ain't even going to be old enough. You got to be 35, unless they figure out some way to manipulate that. I don't know. Say she's, they're trying to do whatever they can, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But the thing is that these people are not the answer. And it doesn't matter which one of them you vote for. They're still not the answer. They're not going to help you. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about our children. They don't care about our property, any of our rights. And they don't give a shit about how we live or if we live. Biden comes out the other day, says they've allocated another $1 billion for Ukraine. Okay. On top of that, there's another like 360 some odd. There's like close to 1.5 billion more after what we've given them. Now they cut 18 or whatever out of the, that last spending package, which is not even real money anyways. But one would think that money cut from that would maybe be, going to the people. I don't know. They sit there and they talk about 9,000 leases and how you need to talk to the oil companies. When in the fuck did anybody who knows anything about oil, can you tell me that oil companies weren't into making money? If there's 9,000 leases out there that would be productive, don't you think they'd be drilling on them? Especially with the prices the way they are. Don't you think they'd be out there drilling on those things with the prices the way they are? They've shut it down. That's the first thing this onion head did. And he said he was going to do it the whole goddamn campaign. He sat there and told you all that. And when Elon Musk, who is the most innovative and one of the largest producers of electric vehicles and trying to come up with solutions, when he comes out and tweets and says, we need to start drilling. I would put I put something behind that. And then you've got fucking Screwhead over there flying around, gallivanting around. He's worried about the goddamn, greenhouse gases, and he's flying around in that fucking jumbo jet. What kind of emissions is that putting off? So he can fly over there and stagger around and then go in there and tell the 82nd Airborne what they're going to face when they go into Ukraine? He sat there and was telling them what they were going to see. Now, was that a screw up? Was it another gaffe? I don't know. You don't know what to make of it. Obviously, his handlers weren't on that one. Of course, he was sitting there with a microphone. I don't think he had a teleprompter in front of him. I don't think he can probably read anyhow. But the kid, Hunty, they've taken millions. Read Peter Schweizer's book. 31 million from Chinese intelligence. It's all cited. He's got over 1,000 different resources in the back of that book that show where his information came from. The man took a year and a half of his life and he researched all this shit. And I mean, talk about doing your homework. It's New York Times bestseller. Is that misinformation? I mean, and everything's just fine. The laptop. They found CP on the laptop. For those of you that don't know what that is, look it up. I'm not going to say it on here. And quite frankly, I think that anybody who has CP ought to get hit to the fullest extent of the law. You know, this Judge Jackson, that was the big issue with her, is that she had handed down sentences that were under mandatory minimums, under prosecutorial recommendations. Now, here's my point of view on this whole thing with CP, okay? You've got these sickos that are passing this shit around, you know, however they do it. I don't know if it's on the dark web or what they do, how they, you know, obviously they get caught all the time. It's disgusting. And they used to tell me when I was in prison, they'd call me up. I'd have to go up there with the lieutenants and the warden and the captain. And they'd say, File, how come you're giving these chomos so much trouble? I'd say, I'm not putting hands on them. I know the rules. And you can't put hands on them. You get another 5-year bit. They call it a hate crime. So when I have a guy come in my unit and I find out from the CO what he's in for, I find out he's in there for production of CP. How am I supposed to treat that individual? He ain't allowed in my TV room. He can't get any store from me. The guys who iron your clothes, dudes who shine shoes, dudes who do laundry, you got nothing coming. Stay on your rack and shut up. That's all I would tell him. I'd sit there and ask him, I'd say, LT, you got kids at home, right? What if I was to say that so-and-so is coming over to your house for dinner tomorrow night, and you get to break bread with him at your table, and then you could sit there with your family and you can watch your sitcoms after dinner in your living room with him, with your kids. Would you like that? And that always changed the tune. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like, so it's like, I'm in there. I'm like, I got kids on there. You think I want to sit here with one of these scumbags? You know, and I would get shit for it all the time. They'd be like, they really didn't do anything. They just were in possession. Well, guess what? Being in possession of CP, every single one of those images on one of those computers is a child's ruined life. So I don't care if they didn't make it, if they didn't have the courage to actually act upon their sick-ass urges, or if they did and just didn't get caught. I don't care. Just the possession and the passing on of that stuff. Every single one of those images is a ruined child's life. Yet we don't say nothing about it. And when people do say something about it, like when they're asking this appointee, who, and I don't care what you say, Biden came out and said that his appointee was going to be a black female. He didn't say it was going to, I do not have a problem whatsoever with a black female on the Supreme Court. Why would I? The person who's qualified for the job is the person who's qualified for the job. But to come out before you even make a nomination and say this person that I'm going to nominate is going to be a black female. I mean, I have an issue with that. I have an issue with any time where you say that just because of race, skin color, or gender or whatever, that is the individual that's going to get hired for the job. Because when you do that, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm saying when you do that, you potentially pass up somebody who's better qualified. Potentially. I'm not saying that she's not qualified. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I don't like the judgments that she's handed down for people, these dirtbags, on CP charges. I don't like it at all. And quite frankly, I don't like it because I saw how that went. These guys come in, they get 18 to 24 months, and then they skate out the door, and they got the highest recidivism rate of any type of criminal because they're fucked up. They're wired wrong. And they would always say, well, it's because it happened to them when they were kids, so that's what, no, let me tell you this, if that shit happened to you when you were a child, you are not trying to enact that on another innocent person, okay? You don't think that that's right unless you're severely twisted, okay? I don't care what you say. That is not an excuse, and I'm not buying it. Not buying it. Not at all. I mean, period. Because I would never do that to somebody else. Not ever. And you can read between the lines on that one however you like. But I can't stand those dudes. And so that's the thing that I have issue with the new Supreme Court justice. And I also have issue with them saying that Republicans treated her worse than the Democrats treated Brett Kavanaugh. They brought that Blasio Ford woman in there, and Joe Biden says, treat all women like believe all women, except Tara Reade, who accused me, and who obviously with her body language is not lying, as opposed to that Blasio Ford lady. She was completely lying. It doesn't take a genius to see that. It doesn't take a genius to read body language. And she's looking at the attorneys for her. If this is something she didn't even know dates, she didn't know nothing. And then they get on this Kavanaugh, and I don't like Kavanaugh either. I think the guy, I don't like his outlook, and I don't like his take on the Fourth Amendment whatsoever. I don't like it. I was not behind that dude, period. But to say that Judge Jackson got treated worse than Kavanaugh did that's a crazy ass stretch right there. I mean, that is just a bold fabrication. I mean, but people listen to it. People believe it. Idiots out there turn on that stupid fucking news and they listen to that shit and they just buy right into it. I mean, yeah, that Kavanaugh did not have a very good reaction and he was upset. But I mean, you know what? That's how somebody who is innocent of something reacts. When you listen to somebody like I heard Biden say, "Oh, I'm being serious, man. I'm being serious, man. Really, really." When somebody says that, as soon as somebody says that, if somebody says, "No, honestly," they're lying. Why would somebody say that? If you're accused of something and no, real, honestly, seriously, like you're not being serious before? When did we start getting serious then? When did we start getting honest? Just now? So everything you said before, what's that? That is a liar. Use your head, folks. If somebody says that, you ask somebody a question and they do this number, they look up like this, they look down, they start doing this, they wring in their hands. I mean, I use my hands. I mean, I have a bad habit of doing this where I rest my head on my hand, right? I shouldn't do that because it looks silly. And, I'll throw my hands around and this and that. But, if you come at me and accuse me of something that I didn't do, I'm not going to sit there and rigmarole around it and make up some crazy story. Like, did you hear? I mean, when they asked Biden about Tara Reade, nowhere in any capacity did anybody that I'm aware of, including have any complaints about me. And I can assure you, honestly, I'm being serious. It's like, you are not being serious, dude. You're lying. Click, back on we go. I mean, we got to wise up, folks. Wake up. It's like Biff hitting McFly. Hello, McFly. Anybody in there? Hello? Anybody home? Is anybody home? That's my question. I mean, is anybody else on the same page I am? Anybody? Hello. Is there anybody out there? Holler if you can hear me, huh? Smash the like button. Subscribe. I mean, you know, if you're on the same page that I'm on, which is the page that is concerned about all of us, then hit the like button, subscribe, give me some support so I can keep doing this, so I can keep speaking, so you can come on the show and speak. I mean, it's getting thin out there, people, and people are everybody's getting shut down. If you don't sit there and fall in line with the narrative, if you critically think, you critically look at these scenarios and these circumstances and situations and offer, you know, an opinion, you know, you're the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy. I care about everybody. I want to see the best for everybody. I'm not one of these people that jumps on the backs of those that have fallen and try and launch myself up over the fence or whatever. I don't try and elevate myself from my brothers and sisters stumbling. I try and pick people up. I don't like that. But unfortunately, in this society, that's what we live in. It's like everybody always jumps on the misfortunes of others, you know? And it's sad. And even with Hunter Biden, okay? I don't know the dude. But if he's got CP on that computer and he's done nothing but lie, and maybe he's done so at the behest of his father, I don't know. However, it's directly related to the leader of this country, if you want to say leader. If that's the terminology you choose to use, then go right ahead. Most of us, I don't think, see it that way. This country is a laughing stock on a global platform right now. He wants to talk about New World Order and how we need to be the leaders. Look at our country. We're about sunk. And we've let it happen. People, make no qualms about it. We've let it happen. When you sit there and you bitch about millennials and their work ethic and their attitude and their outlook on life, we created that. When you bitch about the younger generation, we created that. When I sit there and sometimes I'll laugh at my kids' music and stuff like that, but then I sit back and I look at what we listened to, and you know, in the 80s, good God, we looked like a bunch of morons back then, watching men dressed up like females with all the makeup and stuff and singing the goofy ballads. And I mean, we were just as goofy, you know, just as silly. I mean, you know, to complain about the millennials, and I've been guilty of it, and I've realized that I'm not going to do that anymore because, I mean, an individual is a product of their environment. When you take young people and you raise them to just go out in a field and run all willy-nilly around, and, you know, there's even soccer leagues I've seen where they don't even play with a ball. They don't play with a ball. They pretend like they have a ball. They don't keep score. Well, guess what? When you don't keep score, guess what does keep score? The kids keep score. Trust me, I've coached enough baseball teams. Now, I never, until I had my son in the lower levels of like baseball, I never coached young kids because I didn't want to deal with that. When I was coaching, I dealt with like 18-year-old kids that had the potential to go to college and that were motivated. And, you know, those are the guys I like to deal with. Those are the types of teams that I coached because I could relate to them, you know. But trust me, even with kids, I mean, my son played the T-ball. I mean, it was just willy-nilly all. But guess what? Those kids, they all kept score. They didn't keep score. They didn't have a winner and loser at the end of the game, but those kids knew on both sides of the fence. They knew who won, who lost. That's what I'm talking about. There is no equality of outcome. It doesn't exist. It ain't going to happen. If that happens, then we all are living mediocre lives and we suck. We all suck. And we all might as well just all go to dairy. We all just make the earth into a Dairy Queen. We can just all go sit there and eat soft serve together all day and pat each other on the back and give one another our leftover trophies. I mean, once you have one, who cares? Just give everybody a fucking trophy. Here you go. Everybody gets a trophy. And then this just lasts your entire life. It's your trophy for being born. Yay, you. Hooray. I'm not trying to be harsh here. I care about everybody, even the losers. I'm a fucking loser. I lose all the time. But I learn from losing. And I guarantee that the next time it comes around, I'm not going to. And that's the problem. That's what we've done. We've taken that. I mean, look at Michael. Okay, a guy like Mike Jordan, right? Everybody wants to be like Mike. Did you want to be like Mike when he was getting cut from his high school team? Getting no playing time? Frustrated as hell? The man worked his ass off. I mean, there's so many stories like that about people who got beat down, failed, cut. I don't even think they cut kids off high school sports teams anymore. But I mean, having that happen to you, if that's something that, if you get cut from a sports team and you're passionate about playing that game, you're going to be in there working. I did. I got pulled out of a freshman basketball game. I loved basketball. I loved it more than I loved baseball. I got pulled out of a game when I was a freshman because I went up on the left side and I did a left-handed finger roll, right? Left-handed finger roll, instead of going up and doing the proper, white guy shot like we're supposed to in Cody, Wyoming. I get pulled out for doing fancy horse shit or whatever the coach said. And at that point I said, you know what? I'm done. Here's my fucking jersey. And I quit. And you know what I did? I'd sit up in the weight room. I'd get done with that. I'd go out. There was an upstairs court. The varsity would be practicing down there. After school, I'd go lift weights. And I'd go sit there and I'd shoot 100 free throws. I never made all 100, but there were times I hit 99 out of 100. I started doing jump training. Went into open gym one day, got a breakout steal. Going up for what I thought was going to be a layup, take off, boom, throw one down, dunking it. I mean, because I wanted to show them that I could play. I'd go in there at open gym and score, in a pickup game or whatever with the varsity players and everybody and go in there, dump 23, 25. So, I mean, there's one day I think I had 32 points in there. I couldn't miss. And there was a bunch of guys like me. We couldn't play on the varsity. We didn't have the right names. But we would put together a state games team and go play in state games, and we'd win that. I mean, they shut down an open gym here in this town because we could beat the varsity. You guys know who you are out there. Y'all remember playing on those teams? It was fun. We'd go out full court press everybody. We had a great time doing that. So there is not a quality of outcome. I mean, but we didn't even have an equality of opportunity in this situation because without the right last name in this town, there's things that you just can't do. If your dad ain't the president of the bank or the basketball coach or, a politician, or some uppity up, you ain't got a chance. And things like that should change. And we're talking about a predominantly white town here, And it doesn't have anything to do with racism either. It's just, this is where we live. I mean, you go up into places, it's just, that's kind of how it is. But we always throw that into everything, which is absolutely stupid. Anyway, enough of my babbling, I guess. I'm extremely bummed out about Taylor Hawkins. It just really sucks. But travel light, Mr. Hawkins, and he's going to be missed. And I just encourage all you to wake up, do some homework, think about these things. Everybody always asks me why I get so wound up about this political shit, and it's because it's what affects us. If you just sit back and just let it happen and just think that the answer is going to be going into the polling booth and either checking off your R's or your D's, It's never going to change. It's the alcoholic's definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Look at our results. That's all I'm saying. Be objective about it. It isn't about donkeys and elephants, R's and D's. It's not what it's about. It's about yous and me's and all of us. And deciding what do we want to do here with this thing? What do we want to do with this ship? Because it's listing lazily to the left in a, well, not such a lazy fashion anymore. You know, we're about to capsize. So we either right the ship or we ride her down. Choice is yours, always is. Red pill, blue pill, what's it going to be? Gonna wake up, or are you going to just sit there and be asleep? Sleep at the wheel. Choice is yours. I mean, we all aren't going to have a choice. The ship goes down, we all go down on it, and that's the way it goes. Whatever. Comedy of errors, I guess. But, you know, I think in my mind, I'd rather right the ship. Just my thought. All of us. Together. There's not you and me in these different spaces, okay? There's, you know, it needs to be all of us right here, right? Like, you know, knuckle rubbing, you know what I mean? Boom, you know, knuckles up to everybody. Don't give a shit, don't care. Skin color, religion, whatever, political affiliate, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I think we all really do want the same thing, but are we brave enough? Are we courageous enough to make that happen? Choice is yours. I know what route I'm going down. And I don't care if I go down it alone, whatever, you know. Born alone, die alone. That's what we all got coming. So we're going to make this time that we're here a little bit more enjoyable, or we're going to just sit here and wallow in misery and war and death and famine and disease and, you know, poverty and you know, no education, violence. Let's elevate. It's time. It's time to get beyond it. Elevate. You know, step it up. Go say hi to your neighbor. See what you can do to help them out. I'm going to go out and ride my dirt bike. For a little while anyhow. Anyway, as we say around here, be good or be good at it. In all things, be kind. And do no harm. Yeah, I'm not trying to do harm. So on that note, I'm going to take us out with the new Tom McDonald. And I'm going to get out of your face. But put some thought into it. Do some homework. All right. Much love to all of you. Later.
They separate us from our neighbors and they call it social distancing. It's actually a bigger plan, it's called social conditioning. They took away our privacy, there's always someone listening. They're rigging the elections, planning riots for the citizens. The government has always lied, it's history repeating. But the problem is the schools dumb you down so you believe them. If you try to speak the truth inside a tweet, then they delete it. Whole administration Satanists who claim they praise in Jesus. Every year there's a new name for enemies that we're facing. It's Al-Qaeda, then ISIS, and now American patriots. Who would have thought those who love the country the most would be hated on by folks who call America home? Both political parties are equally just as evil. They've been working for themselves, don't give a damn about the people. Black, white, yellow, brown, humanity needs you. Cause united we stand, divided they will defeat you. The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust. Y'all missing what was written in them pages. That was history they wrote, now you wanna change it. You racist, you
you hate this. Why you want us all to be locked up in cages? I can't stand the left, everything they say's depressing. Ship them to the Middle East, they can learn oppression. Believe me, I mean this quite literal. I love liberty, but I hate white liberals. Wear a mask, stay home, complain and moan. Talk about privilege on your phone in your Range Rover, Starbucks, mango, foo-foo, whatever. The cloth I'm cut from can handle any weather. You just paper in the rain, we ain't the same. Stand for the flag, only kneel when I pray. I just pray we go back to the old days, land of the free, home of the brave.
The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
Yeah. I see through all the illusions, refuse to humor rumors or accept that we're losing. Easy to get caught up, consumed by the consumer. Truth is so diluted, people starve off the confusion. Comfort is the killer, your dreams execution. Cool with persecution if I make a contribution. Home of the brave look like a mental institution, and there will be revolution if we can't find resolution. And a threat is a promise, stand up, pay homage. They tell lies, I'm being honest, test the time is upon us. I know that God got us, so I'm fighting in his honor. Hear the cries of the crusaders as we're strapping up our armor. Either set sail to higher ground or drown in a drama. If I die for what I love, then my death will be nirvana. We fighting for our freedom, don't believe what they've been feeding. Be the change you wanna see, the warrior that we're needing.
The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
We don't trust the news, the government, or pharma. We just want freedom, that you have that to offer. We don't want the lies, the politics, or the drama. We just want the life that was promised by our fathers. We don't trust the news, the government, or pharma. We just want freedom, that you have that to offer. We don't want the lies, the politics, or the drama. We just want the life that was promised by our fathers.
The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.